Okay, it says I am live. This is Sara from Ranchita, San Diego County, Southern California. Hi, Trisha. Is that a wave? Can I wave to you? Hi. Yeah, USA. Here I am talking to whoever's going to listen this morning. And my reason for doing this live is because I want to tell everyone about my upcoming tabletop level 2. That's Learn Tabletop Constellations level 2, which starts in February and is an online course, 8 weeks. And what I want to talk about now, I made a list, is I want to talk about the N-word. I want to talk, it's not the N-word you think. I want to talk about psychics. I want to talk about, what else do I want to talk about? Yeah, like how I'm going to teach you how to see things that are obvious. But what happens is people have trouble seeing the obvious. Okay, so in tabletop constellations, it's all there. Everything is in front of you, all the information. You just need to see it. All right, so I want to talk about psychics first. So first of all, I'm sorry if you're a psychic and you're going to be offended by what I'm about to say. But what I'm going to say is, psychics just tell you stuff. They just tell you what's in your future. They tell you, like, what's going on with you. They tell you, I don't know, something tragic is going to happen. And you know what? The truth is, we're all psychic. You're psychic. I'm psychic. And what psychics do is they disempower you. All right? So stop giving money to psychics. And empower yourself and use your own psychic abilities. Use your own psychic abilities. Stop letting people tell you how to live your life. Stop empowering people in telling you how to live your life. Right? So what this means is you start seeing the obvious. All right? You start looking at the obvious, which is right in front of you. And a tabletop constellation does that. And I can see Steve on the... hey, Steve, give you a wave. And yeah, so what this does is it enables the person that you're working with in a tabletop constellation to see it for themselves. You're not telling them anything. You are just reflecting. All right, so all you're doing is telling them what is there on the table. What is right in front of them. For anyone who doesn't know what a tabletop constellation is, it's basically a constellation. If you don't know what a constellation is a therapeutic module that kind of gives insight into what's going on in your life, your problems, challenges, whatever. And what we do is we have either people or objects to represent people or things or emotions or places. All right, so basically you can have anything represent anything. So let me show you this. So I use these little horses. You probably, if you know me, you know what I'm talking about. I use big horses and I use these. These ones, hi Steve, yep. He said, hi there, my friend. Good to see you. Good. I can't even see you, but I know you're there, so that's nice. Okay, so I have these, See that one? That's like a flying horse. I use these to do tabletop constellations. And these two that I'm showing you, they have wings. So they're in a different category. That usually means it's a spiritual part of yourself or a magical part of yourself. And then I have this one, you know, he's got a coat of arms on. He's covered up. Or she, could be a she. No, yeah, it's a she, it's a mare. And that means something. But I'm not going to tell the person what it means. I'm just going to say, this horse is wearing a coat of arms. He's covered up. And he's got an empty saddle on his back. And that could mean something to the person in the context of their intention, you know, why they're doing it, why they're doing the constellation. And yeah, going back to the little one. So the baby horses, or foals really is what they're called. These are represent child, right? It's like could be the wounded child, the magical child, the inner child. But it's a child aspect of us or whoever you're working with. And what else? And then I have actually in my collection, I have I have a deer as well. So that's what I use, and it works. It works. And with my students, I encourage them to use whatever they feel connected to. I'm connected to horses. I know horses really well. I know their expressions. I know their movement. So these, you know, for me, the little horses, let's see this one, you know, they speak a lot. Like, they tell me, I mean, it's obvious again, like this horse could be proud, it's very loud, it's bigger than the other horses. Okay, so I think you get the idea. And then when you put them on the board, it's kind of like a chess game, but it's not a game, and we're not playing chess, but it's kind of like that, where you start seeing things and the pieces start to come alive. And there's a story, right? Like, everybody has a story, what's going on in your life. You might feel lonely, you might feel stuck, all right? And what happens in the tabletop constellation is you place the objects. The person who's having the constellation places themselves. So I'm not doing that. I'm not placing them. As a facilitator, I just reflect what they did and what is happening on the board. Where is the movement? Where is the movement of the horses? Where are they facing? Who are they looking at? Typically in a constellation, you look at who's in the middle, because that tells a lot. And then you look at the sides, right? That tells a lot. And the great thing is that you can move them. So the person having the constellation can move the pieces, and it shifts the energy. It changes things. It really does. It's so simple, and it sounds kind of crazy because it's so simple, but it is. It is simple. What's happening is there's a reconfiguration, a mental reconfiguration, and maybe insights are happening, and, you know, a different perception of what is happening happens, and that's when changes happen. That's when we can see different ways, or different or opportunities, or another way of seeing the situation. When people are stuck, they just need a little help, right? A little help, and then they can get moving again. And it is that simple. And yeah, it could be like something really tragic happened, right? And I'm not trying to downplay the things that happen to people, because a lot of my work is to do with trauma. Okay, so I'm not downplaying that, but the tendency is to start identifying with it, and then your life is never ending, a never ending tragedy, right? Do you want to live like that? I don't. I want to live like that. Tabletop constellation can unlock energy. It can unlock a perception. It can create expansion. And it is so simple. I keep saying that. The class I'm going to teach is level 2, right? So I did a level 1. And this level 2 goes deeper into it, because I got feedback. I have a group of Japanese students, and the feedback was that, like, yeah, but how do you see it? Like, how do you see it? Because they see me do it, and then they're like, but how did you come to that? Like, so that's basically what I'm going to be teaching, taking it to another level. And yeah, I've had a lot of experience. I've been doing constellations. I do horse constellations. I do constellations without horses. I do nature constellations. I do business constellations, and pretty much anything. I love tabletop constellations because you can do them anywhere. I did them on a fast train to Tokyo, with Kyoko, from Kobe. We did 2. You know, on the back of the seat, it folds out. We did it like that, and we did 2. And you know how busy and crazy it is on a train? But it was powerful. So that's what I'm talking about. And when I did go to Japan, I took a little kit with me. And that's the great thing. You can travel with them. And the other thing is, I don't even need these horses. I can do it with objects. I can do it with rocks on the ground, stones. I can do it with candy. All right. I prefer to use the horses because, to me, they, like I said, they speak to me. There's a lot of expression and information in them. Yeah, but you can do a tabletop constellation, like I said, with pretty much anything, as long as you can fit it on the table. All right, I mentioned the N word, all right? It's not the word that you think I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that word. I'm talking about narcissist. I've got a pet peeve with that word because, you know what? I hear it all the time. My clients say that to me. My mom's a narcissist. My dad's a narcissist. My husband's a narcissist. My boyfriend's a narcissist. My girlfriend's a narcissist. My sister's a narcissist. My boss is a narcissist. On and on and on. Okay, enough already. All right. I think that word is completely overused and doesn't really say anything except that you're talking about someone else and you've labeled them, you put them in a category, and that's a done deal. Okay? So nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to change if you have that opinion. And I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it's not true. It could be true. I just don't like that word. I don't like labels. I don't like when people identify with labels. I think it locks us in to something, and then it's tough to get out. It's tough to see outside of that. And I feel that, like I said, it's become really popular to use that word, and it's kind of like pop psychology or whatever, I guess. I don't know. But it completely goes against constellation work. So with constellation work, you're looking at everything with neutrality. Like, you're looking at it like you don't know anything. And you're letting the constellation tell you. That's how it works. And we're also working with a field. Some of you may have heard of the knowing field or the morphogenic field, or I like the unified field. It's basically a field of energy that has information that comes to us through our feelings and our sensations. The thing is, though, you got to be present. So this is another thing with constellations. As a facilitator, you have to be present, and you have to support your client or whoever you're working with in being present, in them being present. That means that we're not going to go to a backstory. We're not going to talk about yesterday. We're not going to talk about, if it's not supporting the constellation, forget it. Let's stay with how you feel. How do you feel when you look at this and this? If you're this, how do you feel? You probably feel a little overwhelmed, right? And sometimes, in a constellation, it's uncomfortable because feelings come up, and a lot of people are, they don't want to feel their feelings because it hurts or it's painful. But, we need to feel. You need to feel. You need to feel to heal. And then we let it go. It's that simple. You feel it, you identify it, you recognize it, and you let it go. So when I see these two together, this one may be feeling overpowered by this dominating one, but this one has wings. All right, so what does that tell you? That means that this one has a different trajectory. It can go up. All right, whereas this one is bound to the ground. And it just shows that this one has other talents or skills or ways of navigating, and doesn't have to be a victim. Doesn't have to be a victim. All right. Can, express themselves in their uniqueness and their relationship to spirituality or their spiritual side of themselves or aspect of themselves. So what else was I going to tell you? I think I've talked a lot, and I don't see very many people here, but does anyone have a question? I'm happy to answer any questions about constellations or tabletop constellations. My Japanese students, they have have beautiful. I'm going to call this. I call them kits. The representatives. They have some of them have dragons. They're all dragons. Some have all dogs, and some have farm animals, things like that. Some have gemstones. Okay, so Trisha says, "You're incredible, Sarah. Really good at what you do." Thank you, Trisha. Thank you. I'll take that. I'll take it. I feel very passionate about this work. I've been doing it a long time. I'm the kind of person that gets bored quickly, and will go in and out of things. Like, I'll be a musician for a few years, and then I stop, and then I'll start painting, and I'll paint for a couple of years, and I'll stop, and I'll start doing photography. Or then I'll do video, or make or write a script. Or actually, I just finished writing a book, which goes with the horse training constellation training video, but that's another subject. But my point is that constellations have been consistent with me. I've done them professionally since 2008, and I teach them, and that's because I think they're amazing. I want to tell you too, I don't have a degree. I didn't go to college or university. I actually dropped out of school early. I was kicked out of every class at my school, and I used to sit in the library if I went to school. So that's kind of where I'm at, where, my background. And I was told, when I started my own business, you should go and get a degree, because then you'll get clients and people will take you seriously. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. It didn't excite me at all. What I did do was I studied the polarity healing arts and cranial sacral unwinding through the Life Energy Institute school. I did that for about 5 years. That completely changed me and taught me, energy medicine and all other ways of healing through the body and also through communications. And that actually led me to horses and helped me connect with horses in a way that was energetic. So creating rapport with a horse, having resonance with a horse, So that teaching was, even though I don't really work on bodies anymore, hands-on, I do occasionally, but that's not really my thing anymore. I mean, I know how to do it, but I use the principles I learned in my relationship to my horses and the way that I work with them and the way that I work with people and the way that I facilitate and also the way that I teach. So to me, that school was really valuable and life-changing, and it led me to where I am now. And what else? I learned Family Constellations with Francesca Mason-Boring. That was a year. Before that, I was involved in constellations by going to them. So this is when you go to a constellation and there's a group and you're part of the group. And in the 90s, well, I was doing that. Late 90s? No, early, I think 2002 or something like that. I started getting into that. And I was so blown away by the work that I wanted all my friends to experience it. So I would hire a facilitator, and then I would get the group together. And I did that for several years until finally my friend, Hazel Carter, if you're listening, hello, Hazel. She said, Sarah, why don't you take the training with Francesca? You can learn how to do it. So I did that in 2008. And then after that, I decided, actually Hazel's suggestion again was, why don't you do it with the horses? Like, see what happens. And we did. And it was incredible. It was incredible. So I've been doing it ever since, like that. And so I'm seeing Melinda. Hi, Melinda. I'm seeing Mary. Hi, Mary. Listen, if anyone has a question, shoot it out. Otherwise, I'm going to go. I've been talking a lot. How long have I been talking? I don't know. I've been talking a lot. And for anyone who missed it, I am talking about tabletop constellations. I'm talking about my class coming up. Learn Tabletop Constellations Level 2. It starts in February. It's every Saturday morning for 8 weeks. It's only an hour and a half. And I teach you how to do a tabletop constellation. You can do them for yourself too. I've done tabletop constellations for myself, and that was life-changing. One I did. I don't really want to go into it because people that know me kind of, I don't want to give out too much private personal information, but yeah, one little horse constellation led to a decision that I made that was huge. And I'm really glad I did that constellation. It was difficult and it was hard to see it initially. But when I stepped away from it, it was like, boom, it hit me, and then I knew what I needed to do. I knew what I needed to do. So Trisha says, I like to bait out Gabe doing this. Yeah. You know what happens though when people want their children or their siblings to work with me? You know, they usually come kicking and screaming. And it's kind of cool if they come to it on their own. You know, like if you present it to them like, hey, I think you might really be interested in this. Check it out. Like, I've got a lot of videos on my Silver Horse Retreat YouTube channel about it, and on my website, which is silverhorse.org or silverhorseretreat.com. I have a lot of information about it. And then, you know, see if they're interested and then go from there. But I think if people are like not so invested in it, they're not really probably going to get much out of it, right? Like, you got to be really hungry for this work. Like, I like I said, like, my experience in constellations have been huge, and changed my life on several occasions, made decisions, huge decisions, based on a constellation that took 15 minutes. And it worked out. Everything worked out better. I feel I'm in a really good position in life right now. Like, I love my life. I love what I do. And I'm excited about this work. And so I think that's Mary said, such a wonderful way to heal. Yeah, it is. It is such a wonderful way to heal. To get to play with like little toys, you know. Like this one looks like my horse, Mayhe. It's an Appaloosa. I have an Appaloosa horse. But I'm kind of joking, but I'm not really joking, you know. The thing is, like, when we can, like, objectively see the situation, that's when we get the recognition, right? If you're in it, and you're talking about everyone being a narcissist, and you're talking about who did what to you, then you're too much in it, and you can't see beyond that. And quite honestly, probably it's not going to change. It's not going to change. All right? Yeah, so in the class is really fun. I do examples. We do, so we actually do tabletop constellations in the class. It's not just everyone just listening to me. And I know that can be hard to focus, especially online when you're just listening to someone going on and on. So a lot of it is actually doing the constellations, breaking them down. I'm going to talk about healing statements. I don't know if you know that, but there's healing statements. So let's say, I see you, Father. This is Father. This is child. I see you, Father. Okay, so when you acknowledge the Father, I see you, Father, the whole energy relaxes. It's everything softens, and the Father may no longer be dominating and intimidating. You know, I know it sounds strange, but if you take my class, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I've been going on, and I see some people. Silvana from Brazil. Hey, I think it's Sylvia, right? Hey, Sylvia. Good to see you. Anyway, so yeah, if you're interested in the class, it's February 12th, and it's called Learn Tabletop Constellations Level 2. And you do need to have some knowledge of constellation. It is going to be a little more advanced than the Tabletop Constellation 1. But you have time before February to maybe catch up a bit. Just contact me and I can help you out. All right. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and good to see everyone. This is totally impromptu. I didn't tell anyone I was going to do this, and I'm glad for everyone who's watching. All right. Thank you.